Anne of the Thousand Days is a 1969 historical drama directed by Charles Jarrott.
The Anne of the title is Anne Boleyn, who, well, as you probably know, was Henry VIII's second wife. Yeah, it's basically the tale of her time with him, from when they first met to when he chopped her head off. No spoilers, but, that's what happened. So, yeah, it opens sort of... the film is basically a flashback, really, isn't it? It opens with him, deciding whether to sign her death warrant, basically. And then it flashes back to their first meeting, and him and her catching his eye. And, yeah, a lot of the plot is taken up with his pursuit of trying to annul his marriage to Catherine of Aragon, which resulted in the breaking away from Rome and the Catholic Church and forming the Church of England, and just so he could get rid of her because obviously divorce. Oh no, you can't do that, and the Pope wouldn't let him, just so he could have his way with Anne. He was a bit of a fickle guy, and and he just wanted a son. Basically, wanted an heir, which Catherine of Aragon hadn't provided. Well, as you can imagine, he had another 4 wives after Anne Boleyn, so she didn't do it for him either. Yeah, so that's it. Yeah, it's not 100% historically accurate, but it's it's not far off. Compacts time for some things and alters certain things, and obviously imagines all conversations, because there's not really anything written down as far as conversations that went on, but certain events that probably didn't happen and things like that. So
artistic license, I think they call it.
Yeah, that's it. You've got Richard Burton in there as Henry VIII, who, he does his Richard Burton thing, really, doesn't he? Shouts lots of lines very loudly.
He does, yeah. He's a Shakespeare actor through and through. And, yeah. It's good screen presence, though.
No, absolutely,
He didn't like the film. He hated his performance. He hated the film, and was quite surprised when he got an Oscar nomination for it. So, did he win it?
No. I think the only one it won was for costume design, I think.
That's right.
Which to be fair is pretty good.
Is it? No, and then the costumes are. I mean, that's what's really interesting about this film. Actually, it looks really good. So why are we doing this film? It's kind of different to our usual flair.
It is a little bit, yeah.
If you are wondering, but there's a couple of reasons why we're doing it. One reason actually is that this Sunday is May the 19th, which is the day Anne Boleyn was executed. Mm-hmm. So May the 19th, 1536. But the other reason actually is, so this film is, so the interesting thing about this film is, the actual historical setting features many quite interesting film places, locations. So obviously it took place, Henry VIII lived in Hampton Court in London, Anne Boleyn was executed in the Tower of London, in London.
Yep.
Obviously. And then obviously there's places, so Anne Boleyn lived down in Kent, and the film itself was actually used a lot of some of these locations, the actual locations of the film. And so one of those locations in the film is a place called Hever Castle, and we actually worked there.
We did, yeah.
Like 20 years ago in the car parks, didn't we?
Yes.
Our sins, good old time.
Yep.
And one of us still works there.
You did do other stuff in between.
I did do other stuff. I went away for like 20 years, and then I came back. So, yeah. But I work there now. And why the kind of reason we're doing this is because Hever Castle has actually just launched, and officially launching it on May the 19th, an exhibition about films and TV. So it's called Hever Castle on Stage and Screen. And it's kind of the numerous times Hever Castle has been on films, used on TV, and one opera as well. Does
Star Wars get a mention?
Star Wars does get a mention. Cool. We were there the last time, 20-odd years ago, when they were filming The Phantom Menace. It's like a blink and you miss it.
Well, it's a deleted scene now. It's not even in the film.
It is in the film.
Is it?
Yeah, if you watch it, when the Jar Jar Binks and Liam Neeson and Hugh McGregor come out in that pod.
Oh yeah,
out of the water.
You can just see it in the background.
Just like a blink and you miss it, and you can see the back of the loggia where they filmed that. with all the digital background stuff in there.
But you can see more in the deleted scene, to be fair.
You can see more in the deleted scene, this is true. But we were there when they filmed that the first time round, and there's been numerous other films that they've made there over the years. And so for Anne of the Thousand Days, they used Hever Castle quite extensively, and there's a great shot near the beginning of the film when Richard Burton rides in, and he kind of rides down the hill, and then over the drawbridge into the castle, and Genevieve Bujold, not Genevieve, I think I got that right. She's looking out of one of the bedrooms, and obviously, if you know the castle, and we know the castle, and I know it quite well because I'm there now. It's really interesting watching when you watch a film and you know a location it's been filmed in. It's quite interesting to watch it. So anyway, that's kind of why we've decided to do this. So this exhibition is actually kind of being launched this week. So if you're interested in, Anne Boleyn, bit of history, bit of film, bit of TV, come on down to the castle. This is not like a free promotion or anything. Well, it's free promotion because I'm not getting paid for it. But I just thought I'd mention.
You mean I'm not getting a cut of every ticket?
No,
God's
afraid
sake.
not. No, and no. So we just thought we'd mention it for that, and it's a nice way to actually do the film and cover an older film, and I think it's an interesting film. Obviously with Anne Boleyn and Henry VIII, you probably all know the story. You probably all know what went on. We're not going to talk about all that, but I think as a film, it's actually really well done. It's got a really good cast, like we say. Richard Burton's in there. Michael Hordern plays Anne Boleyn's father, Thomas Boleyn. And you've got Anthony Quayle in there, and even Elizabeth Taylor, Richard Burton's wife. She's in a blink and you miss it moment. She plays like a masked courtesan who breaks into, I think Catherine of Aragon is praying, and she kind of breaks in through the kind of bounces in through the door.
Right, that person,
that scene. And so Elizabeth Taylor is basically only there because she thought her husband was having an affair with the star of the film. So I think what was going on off screen is maybe more crazy than what's actually going on screen. I think there's a famous story where Sir Penzance Place is another location in the film that they used, which is near Hever Castle. And I think there's a story from some locals that I think Richard Burton stayed in the pub there, and of course he was a bit of a drinker, so there were a few drunken antics going on and things like that. So this was a play on Broadway in 1948, which starred Rex Harrison, and it didn't actually make it to the screen for like 20 years because at that time the Hays Code was in place in America, and that's the kind of the cinematic production code, the kind of it was unacceptable to do certain things on screen. So mostly in this case, it featured adultery, illegitimacy, and incest.
Yeah.
All the key things you're not allowed to do on cinema in the 40s and 50s because of this guy, Will Hays, who basically said you can't do it. No. He probably loved it himself. It's usually the case, isn't it? Politicians, they tell you not to do nasty things, but then they love to do them secretly. By themselves.
Yep.
So when that relaxed itself in the late 60s, this and many other revolting films kind of popped up, and they're all great. This came out around that time, and I think it was quite a big success. It's got a great cast in there, and they all do it well. I mean, yes, you're right. There's historical inaccuracies in there. I think Genevieve Bujold holds the film really well. Yeah. She's a bit of a proto-feminist kind of thing going on, and I think Anne Boleyn was supposed to be quite a very strong-willed person.
She doesn't take any crap, does she?
She does not take any crap from Henry or anyone else around her. And I actually really enjoy the end scene, and obviously this is a spoiler, but I'm sure you all know what happened to Anne Boleyn at the end of her days. There's a really great scene with her and Henry VIII, or with Richard Burton, where she kind of shouts at him and tells him that, and this probably didn't happen because she wouldn't have known that her daughter Elizabeth went on to become like one of our strongest ruling queens ever. But she kind of really lays into Henry about the fact that she's going to go on and become the ruler of the country that you will never be. Yeah. I think I think there's moments in the film that are quite striking like that, and obviously her acting is just amazing in it. And I think even today she says like she's the only one that could ever play Anne Boleyn or something. She believes she's the best Anne Boleyn ever.
Well, there you go.
There you go.
Well, there's plenty of people who've tried, isn't there? I mean, it's not like there's a shortage of films on the subject.
No, there's been TV come to the castle and check out the exhibition because there have been loads of TV shows and films and things like that, and there's two of the costumes on display as well from Anne of a Thousand Days.
Oh, right. I mean, I think I think they've been quite favourable to Henry VIII as far as who's been cast. Like Eric Bana was in the other Boleyn girl.
The Boleyn girl.
And he's not exactly. He's quite a good-looking guy. Richard Burton. He's not you know.
Yeah. I mean, he's not. Yeah, I mean, so
But Henry VIII, you know, look at the portraits of him. You know, he wasn't a particularly looker, was he? Let's be honest.
Well, not the end.
I don't know how he got
life.
all these women. To be honest, I guess being king has its perks.
Power, money,
Yeah.
and a big codpiece.
Yeah. Yes.
Yeah. I mean, obviously at the end of Henry's life, he was very large. You know, he ate a lot. He had this accident when he was younger and he gained a lot of weight. But when he was younger, he probably, you know, he was a good
he wasn't
looking chap,
always like
and-
that, was he? No.
No, not at all. We tend to depict him at that end of his life because they're obviously the paintings that are famous of him.
But yeah, I hadn't seen it before. And I was like, why have you chosen this? Costume drama's not really my bag, if I'm honest. I thought it was going to be like really stiff and a bit dull. But, you know, I was actually quite enjoyed it. You know, considering it's over 2 hours long, I thought, oh, it's going to be really slow. But actually, you know, it's quite well paced.
Yeah.
And, you know, the acting isn't stiff and boring. You know, that it's quite, you know, it's quite contemporary, actually, considering when it's set.
Yeah.
And from the performances perspective, is what I mean. No, it was good, and I certainly learned some facts that I wasn't aware of.
I agree. I think this is a really good film, and I think, you know, it has a really good cast, and they all do it really well, and it's beautiful to look at. You know, I think it's got some really great locations. Like I said, you know, there's a lot of films that is filmed on location at the actual places that these of settings that these would have existed.
Yeah.
You know, obviously there's a lot of studio work in there. I think the interesting thing about, say, like Hever Castle, for instance, there's a lot of stuff inside, but none of that is inside the actual castle.
No.
It's all shot at Pinewood or Shepperton Studios, and that's amazing because it makes the inside of the castle look ginormous, which is not. It's a tiny place inside. I think it's a really great film, and you know, obviously we're not going to go too much into the history because you either know it or you don't. If you don't, go and watch the film. But it goes along at a nice pace. There's some really great moments in there. There's some nice kind of humorous moments. I actually think there's some quite dark moments. You know, the execution scenes. There's a couple of execution scenes in there. They feel quite ominous. They feel quite, you know, like they would be quite dark and eerie.
I mean, what it sort of brought home to me was that everything was a bit petty.
Yeah, no, you're right.
You get your head chopped off for the slightest thing.
Yeah, exactly.
Everything was about religion. You know, every aspect of your life was controlled by what God would think about it. And if he didn't like it, then off you with your head.
Yeah, so obviously this is, you know, and it's 50 years old as well, this film. So it's 1969 and we are 2019, so that's kind of another reason to do it.
Yep.
But do we have it on DVD?
Yep, I picked up the DVD. Pretty cheap, it's not hard to find. Nothing on it particularly. Well, nothing at all, apart from the film. Yeah, I mean, there is in the States, there was a Blu-ray released, I can't remember when, I think it was last year actually, by Twilight Time. And as with, I think most...
Is that the 2K one? 2K release of it?
Possibly. But as with I think most, if not all of their releases, they're limited, so there was only 3,000 copies. Although because it's not a hugely popular film, it's still available. But...
I think that's the 2K version.
Right.
Because the curator of this exhibition picked up the Blu-ray version, and I think he said it was 2K.
Yeah.
And shout out to him because he's done so much work on this exhibition. Are you going to come and check it out?
Yes.
Obviously, you'll have to pay to come into the castle.
Then no.
Yeah, I'll tell you about it.
Cheers.
Yeah.
And it's available on Blu-ray in, I think, Germany and Spain and Italy. Nothing in the UK at the moment, which is a bit weird, seeing as it's, you know...
Yeah, it'd be nice. I think it would be nice to see, you know, because it's, you know, and as I said, there are a lot of fans of this story, of these people in Anne Boleyn. It's a shame that, you know, it hasn't got a nice release over here.
No, I mean, the picture on this was pretty, not great. It wobbled and there was scratches and specks and stuff all over it, so it wasn't very good. So I imagine, and particularly for the costumes, you know, I imagine the Blu-ray is pretty good. So
that was Anne of the Thousand Days, and as always, if you enjoyed this video, let us know in the comments below.
Yep, hit the subscribe button up there if you've enjoyed what you've watched, and don't forget to hit the bell for notifications. And there's some other videos to check out over there. Come and find us on Twitter and Facebook, and come back next week for another video.